Best wishes to all my viewers. Wherever you are, hope all are safe, secure, and doing well. Warm welcome to my YouTube channel. Religion is essentially the intrinsic character of a being, like water rolls down from high to low. Love is the natural expression of humanity. Seeing some fellow human in distress or in some form of need, an automatic response is activated in a fellow human, and that is what I call human religion in essence. The one who translates that feeling into action shows true humanity. Here I narrate an allegorical story showing true love, that is humanity. The Last Cab Ride. It's a story of a cab driver. 20 years ago, he drove a cab for a living. One time, he arrived in the middle of the night for a pickup at a building. Whole building was dark except for a single light in the ground floor below. Under these circumstances, many drivers would just honk once or twice, wait a minute, and then probably drive away. But he had seen too many impoverished people who depended on taxis as their only means of transportation. If the situation did not smell of danger, he always went up to the door. This passenger might be someone who needs my assistance, he reasoned to himself. So he walked to the door and knocked. Just a minute, answered a frail elderly lady from inside. He could hear something being dragged across the floor. After a long pause, the door opened. A small woman in her 80s stood there. She was wearing a print dress and a pillbox hat with a veil pinned on it, like somebody out of a 1940s movie. By her side was a small nylon suitcase. The apartment looked as if no one had lived in that for years. All the furniture was covered with sheets. There were no clocks on the wall, no knickknacks or utensils on the counter. In the corner was a cardboard box filled with photos and glassware. "Would you carry my bag out to the car?" she said. He took the suitcase to the car, then returned to assist the woman. She took his arm and they walked slowly towards the curb. She kept thanking the driver for his kindness. "It's nothing, ma'am," the cab driver told her. "I just try to treat my passengers the way I would want my mother treated." "Oh, you are such a good boy," she said. When they got to the cab, she gave him an address, then asked, "Could you drive me through the downtown?" "It's not the shortest way," cab driver answered quickly. "Oh, I won't mind," she said. "I'm not in a hurry. I'm on my way to a hospice." Driver looked in the rear view mirror. Her eyes were glistening. "I don't have my family left," she continued. "The doctor says I don't have very long time left." He quickly reached over and shut off the meter. "What route would you like me to take?" the driver asked. For the next 2 hours, they drove through the city. She showed him the building where she had once worked as an elevator operator. They drove through the neighborhood where she and her husband had lived when they were newlywed. She had him pulled up in front of a furniture warehouse that had once been a ballroom where she had gone dancing as a girl. Sometimes she would ask him to slow in front of a particular building or corner and would sit staring into the darkness, saying nothing. As the first hint of sun was creasing the horizon, she suddenly said, "I am tired. Let us go now." They drove in silence to the address she had given. It was a low building, like a small, convalescent home, with a driveway that passed under a portico. Two orderlies came out to the cab as soon as they pulled up. They were solicitous and intent, watching her every move. They must have been expecting her. Driver opened the trunk and took the small suitcase to the door. The woman was already seated in a wheelchair. "How much do I owe to you?" she asked the driver, reaching into her purse. "Nothing," the cab driver said. "You have to make a living," she answered. Soberly, the cab driver replied, "There are other passengers. Don't worry." Almost without thinking, the cab driver bent and gave her a hug. She held onto him tightly. "You gave an old woman a little moment of joy," she said. "Thank you." He squeezed her hand, then walked into the dim morning light. Behind him, a door shut. It was the sound of the closing of life. He did not pick up any more passenger that shift. He drove aimlessly, lost in his thought. For the rest of the day, he could hardly talk to anybody. What if the woman had gotten an angry driver, or one who was impatient to end his shift? What if I had refused to take the run, or had honked once, then driven away? Cab driver thought to himself. On a quick review, he thinks that he has not done anything more important in his life. We are conditioned to think that our lives revolve around great moments, but great moments often catch us unaware, beautifully wrapped in what other may consider a small one. Love is a verb. It means action or lack of action. Thanks for watching. Please react, comment, and subscribe my channel if you like. Wish you all only the best. Thanks and gratitude. Humanity is human religion.